Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Just coming off of an incredible weekend. Things are good. Life is good. Happy. Yeah, things are very good. Things are very good. How are
Yes,
things with you?
they are great. They're great. Had a wonderful weekend. We had a couple of we had a class at Pentagram. It was really interesting. It was about magical squares. It was great. Um, Now here we are. We survived the 4th of July, even though it was
Mhm.
rainy. Salem still
Oh,
had a beautiful array of fireworks. It was great.
nice.
Great day.
Nice.
And here we are, my birthday week and month.
That's right.
Welcome.
It's your birthday week, girl. Girl.
Yes.
And we're going out today and we're going swimming. We're going to hit the water. We're going to do some
Yes.
very Cancerian. We're going to swim. So
Yeah. We're
how
going to have a
appropriate.
great day.
Appropriate.
And
After all that talk about water, we have been getting into water more lately. So we're practicing what we preach, guys. We're actually doing the things that we talk about doing. We're actually doing them. So we don't just talk about them, we actually do them. So we've been getting more in touch with water. And today we're going to be talking about the land and we're going to talk about, contact and communication with the spirit of place and plants and animals and the living creatures that kind of breathe so much life into the space. And yeah, so I'm excited for today. I have a whole like array of crystals here that I'm like ready to just like, yeah.
I am so excited to dive into this amazing author we have as a guest. So
Yes.
looking
It's
forward
gonna
to
be
it.
good. It's gonna
It's
be
gonna
good.
be
I'm
great.
looking forward to it. Looking forward
Great.
to it. Yep.
So
Yes. Yeah.
I am very excited. Well,
Yeah.
not really excited because I honestly, this card I'm pulling, when I receive it in a reading, I don't see it as necessarily like good news, but not bad news either. I mean, it's
I knew.
information.
As soon as you say when I receive it in a reading, I don't necessarily think it's good news. I'm like, it's gonna be the moon.
It's going to be the moon. However, a lot of people believe because it's moon card that it's, a Cancerian card. It's not. It's for dreamy, moody Pisces. Okay.
My rising.
Yes, and I believe the moon's in Pisces right now as well. So we all have to pay attention to those like barking dogs there, because
Yep.
this card represents a lot of the illusions that we put up for ourselves and also others. It's a
Mhm.
dreamy card, and there is a link to mediumship and other astral work right there in that card. But it's also a warning. Okay, you always have those like one or two friends that are going to say, "Hey, you're on that road, and you need to wake up. It's not everything is a bed of roses.
Mhm.
There is an attempt there of those little puppy dogs. They don't call that the best friend of man for no reason. It's just allowing us to realize, you're walking down this fictional road, this whole thing you've created in your head, and however illusions and deceptions at sometimes are the easier things to look at. You're going to have a couple of those friends saying, "Hey, wake up. You have to walk that road, but walk it awake." It talks a lot about dream time too. A lot of people I've been talking about, and I would love everyone to chime in. Has your dreams been really screwed up lately?
Oh yes.
My dreams are so weird.
Oh
Okay.
yes.
So
Mhm.
very weird. I don't even understand them. I
Yeah,
think I
me
called
either.
you the other day and said that, Chris was cheating on me, and you were like, "That's a dream." He's like, "You're not, that's not real." Well, some of the key words here when you look at the moon cards, are not just, the illusion. There is wild nature in here, and I find that coinciding with our guest today, because he does a lot of work with nature in the wild things that are inside of it.
Yes.
There's also a part of it like, hey, what's the hidden truth? A lot of
Oh,
things.
yes.
I pulled this. So a
Absolutely.
lot of the bullshit and things that have been hidden in the past, they're starting to um, be revealed. So revelations of the hidden truth,
Yeah.
waking up from dreams, really working with your subconscious at a healthy level. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
When you're looking at this card, you're seeing those really statuesque columns there. That's the mundane life. You got to kind of walk when you're walking in the middle of it all. Sometimes if we're not aware of where we're going, we're going to trip and fall. All right, because I think at times this is a warning of, every day we're trying to escape from some of the mundane tasks we have to do, but we have to get through them so we
Mhm.
can get through into the dream time, into the subconscious, and all of that.
Yep.
I also felt that those dogs also remind me personally of my anxiety, of all that self-talk that's in my head, that when you're living in your head sometimes and all
Mhm.
that buzzing is going on,
Yep.
you're not able to see the signs and the psychic message truly from spirit. Okay. The gods are trying to reach us every day. It's
Mhm.
a matter of, can you get past your ego and your insecurities to actually hear them?
Yep. Also, just check out that Scorpio rising up out of the water. I mean, it's like a yeah, it's a lobster or some form of crustacean, but I just immediately am like, you know, let's not forget Scorpio's a water sign. That's just a little signal of the secretive nature of the moon is like, you know, what we don't necessarily hold up to the light all the time. You know what I mean? It's like we're not always forthcoming with everything. That maybe it's the lower layers of who we are. You need to get to know us better to get to know the layers of us that are like the moon, that are maybe our moon sign isn't, always immediately relevant or immediately seen when you first meet us. But as you get to know us, our moon sign energy comes out and we reveal a little bit more of that. And one of the things that's always struck me about this card is I see a domesticated dog on one side of that path and a wild wolf on the other side. And I feel like those are energies we have inside of us. And how much do we let out of each of those sides of us? The side that's more predictable, the side that's more loyal or, kind of going through the day to day, has a routine, shows up for that routine. And then there's the side of us that's wild and just says, I need to break free of all of this. I need to just I'm not going to necessarily do what's expected of me. I'm going to do something whimsical, something just off the cuff. I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants and just let something organically happen. And those two sides, we kind of, as a Libra, I feel like I'm balancing those two sides of me a lot, where I am this, I'm a wild creative person. I have a difficult time sticking to an exact routine. But yet I do appreciate a strong structure to operate within. So it's like, hmm. So when I see this card, sometimes I personally am reminded of balancing because we've got it's kind of looks like the sun and the moon up there in the sky. It's reminding us that the moon, the light that emanates from the moon is a reflection of the sun. And so I feel like there's some balance. We've got like you mentioned, those two pillars, kind of reminiscent of the ones for the high priestess, but
Yes.
um, maybe not so much, but she is linked to the moon. So, we've got a little of that energy there, the severity and mercy reminding us of, when to be harsh about something, when to be sort of soft. and like water. So we have land and water both featured on the card. So when to be hard, when to be allowing, when, when to put up boundaries, when to allow. So lots of messages there for everyone that's tuning in. If you're here today, this is for you. So, and this is
Absolutely.
for all of us. This is a reminder to all of us. And let's take a look at our lives through the lens of this card and take a look at what maybe needs to change. What do we need to lean into? What do we need to, to work on? So
The one thing I want to say about the moon in itself, let's think of it in this, just simply in the sky. It does guide you. It guides you to the unknown in your life, not just the unknown, the unusual unknown, the different things, the different. Maybe Robert Frost would say it. Maybe it's the road less traveled. I find that, and I know a lot of people are afraid of receiving this card in a reading because it does talk so much about our anxieties and our fears and like coming through the darkest part of our night. But isn't that when we learn the most?
absolutely. Hate to admit it.
Yeah.
Hate to admit it. But
sometimes the best moments of my life have been when I got lost, especially at night. Getting lost, walking around, as long as you're safe and you have your two friends there, domesticated dog and wild dog to guide you. How many
right?
times have I called you and I've been at a psychic party going, I don't know exactly where I am. I don't even know what city am I in.
Right?
And it's, trust the moon. It's there.
Absolutely. It's there. Absolutely. And I just want to remind everybody that we do not recommend any psychic that's messaging you on any platform, any social media at all, to ask you to get a reading from them. Automatic, do not recommend. Automatic, no trust. Automatic would not do. So just a reminder, if you want to know who Leanne and I recommend, of course, it's each other. And then on top of that, we've got a long list of people that we've worked with. Some of them are tuning in right now. Some of them are on here. Hello, Joanne. So if you're looking for a psychic reading, obviously book with Leanne at Pentagram or at Zodiac. If you're looking for a consultation with me, book at gallowshillwitchery.com. But definitely do not do anybody that's commenting in this chat. Automatic, we do not recommend. Do not get a reading with them. Thank you. Anyway, so I got excited talking. Speaking of water, I just want to say that when I see you today, I will be delivering some very special water to you. Yes. So it's a tradition for me personally to collect the water from the cauldron from summer solstice.
Yes. Sorry. Wow.
So just keep in mind, for you and Tim, I've got plenty of water from the cauldron. So that water will be coming to you. So yes, grabbing water from the ritual and being able to use that water in subsequent rituals. So gathering up the water that has that amazing energy from the summer solstice ritual and being able to, because water, as we've talked about, it absorbs what goes into it. And then when you pour it into something else in more water, it makes more of that water, right? Because it's like, so if I pour a little bit of that into the cauldron next year and then gather that water up and then pour a little of that. So, and that contains some of the water that you brought me back from the Chalice Well. So that's very special water. So I wanted to mention that based on our water discussion. And if you guys tuning in didn't watch that Psychic Tea, go back and watch it. Go back and watch the playback on the YouTube channel because it's there. So you can understand why I'm bringing that up today. Plus that we're going to be in the water today. But I wanted to talk about some crystals that are going to pertain to the conversation that we're about to have with author Nathan Hall, because diving into his book about, and realizing how much he's into the spirit of place, and that the soul of like the place has a soul, animals and plants, living plants. And I want to just do a quick shout out, speaking of plants. So this is my second one from friend and now new neighbor of mine, the Plant Witch, the Salem Plant Witch. She is opening up a shop on Washington Street. So she's on my block in downtown, and I'm super excited. Super excited to have her have an actual space, which is awesome. So this is my second one. This little ecosystem here has a little floating plant in it. Oh, there he is, bouncing around. So I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I see him. We have one here.
You see?
I
So
do.
this is the one that's at home with me. And then there's one at the downtown Gallows Hill Witchery office. So this one is the home one. This one is called the Birth of Venus. And this has a little marimo ball inside of it. That's the little plant. They are regarded as good luck charms in Japan. And since they have been known to live up to 200 years or longer, they are often kept as family heirlooms. So this is the kind of thing you pass down. You pass this down. They symbolize close bonds between family members or close-knit friends, and are often passed down through the generations. So this is my little guy here, Birth of Venus. This contains Amazonite, pink quartz, pearl, and abalone shell. So this is a Venusian talisman here at the house. The one at work, the one at the office at Gallows Hill Witchery, has citrine and aventurine and good stuff for success, and stuff like that. So that one's working on something a little different with me down at the Gallows Hill Witchery downtown office. So super excited to have these adorable little plants that live in the water, since we were talking about water, because I have a bunch of air plants, and I love, obviously being an air sign, I love air plants, but I also love that these guys live underwater basically, and you just have to change out a little bit of the water each month to kind of give them a little refresh, but they're super easy to care for. I love that they live with their crystals, which, how could I not love that? So they live in the bottle with the crystals. And this is just a wonderful idea that she had. And so super happy to support
Amazing.
Salem Plant Witch, and Lulu's been lovely to work with. Speaking of plants, this is my baby. I obviously I have had others that people in the Crystal Coven have taken home with them. This one happens to be mine for my plants, but plants love Kambaba Jasper, and Kambaba Jasper links us with the plant world, especially links us up with the green parts of earth, and connects us even when us city witches can't always be walking out in the woods. This kind of brings that energy to us. It brings that lush, green, fertile, growing, awesome energy into our space. And that's why our plants love it. So this sits in the kitchen with a lot of my green growing things. And they love it. They absolutely love it. My spider plant shot off babies. It was like, everybody was so happy when I brought them a Kambaba Jasper. Similarly, stones like moss agate or even tree agate. This happens to be a shaped one because Ganesh. So moss agate and tree agate are also great. And of course, if you've got a piece of amber that's got something trapped in it, I mean, that's what's better than that? What's better than ancient tree sap trapping like something, a little living creature, for working with those energies. Speaking of that, Orthoceras, right? So Orthoceras is a fossil. It's like a cone-shaped fossil. Here it is. That is also going to link us back. And especially if we're doing sort of an ancestral connection with something from the earth or the water, those types of things, fossils. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Moss agate, love, love, love. Love moss agate. Those types of fossils, like this is a Turritella agate. This is just a raw, like a chunk, a tumbled chunk. That's going to link us back. So when we're connecting to a spirit of place and we're connecting to the sort of ancient history of that place, and we're connecting deep into that place's spirit, like spiritual energy, we're going to link up with some of the, some of these things like petrified wood. Petrified wood is another really powerful way to link up with the spirit and the energy of a spirit of place. Because like the trees, Nathan goes into the trees in the book. There's quite a bit about the trees and the energy of them. But like petrified wood, what's better than that to connect us? And you can wear it as jewelry, et cetera, et cetera. It's getting more popular. You can find it, petrified wood. I love the spheres, so I'm going to have a bunch of spheres. But also other things that I think really connect us. And especially with animals, I'm going to say Dalmatian jasper is a no-brainer. Also serpentine. People have used serpentine.
Oh, that's
I got a
beautiful.
Capricorn. I got a Capricorn here in the serpentine. And this is another form of the serpentine in this horse. So carvings shaped like animals. When you're looking to connect with animals, any carving that's shaped like an animal, or even a carving that has animal, like this is, I have a snowflake obsidian that has a bear paw. So when you're going to connect with the animals of a place, if you're up in New Hampshire and you're in the woods, bear energy, big pine tree energy, like all kinds of those, obviously like touching the things themselves when it comes to plants, touching that tree, etc., connecting, but you don't want to touch a bear. So with that, when you're looking to get in touch with bear energy, I'd say, get yourself a stone or a stone carved in the shape of a bear. We're not going to be touching bears.
Are you telling me I can't hug them?
They look so huggable, don't they?
I just want to snuggle with the bear.
Bears really did us a disservice because they made us feel like, if not friend, why friend shaped? But we definitely, please, women out there, don't, women are notorious for like patting wild animals. Please stop doing that. Anyway, speaking more about spirit of place, I have a piece of the Preseli bluestone. This Preseli bluestone is the Welsh stone that Stonehenge is made from. And this is a green man that's made out of the Preseli bluestone. This is not taken from Stonehenge, guys. Don't come for me in the comments or otherwise. This is just that same stone. Nobody stole anything from Stonehenge. This is just, it's made of the same thing that Stonehenge. So if I was going to visit Stonehenge, which I am going to do, I would bring this with me, right? And put the energy of the spirit of place in this and bring this home. I would not try to take something out of Stonehenge.
Oh, they would drag you away. This
bad idea.
You'd be gone.
Right?
Come and get
bad idea. But
do that.
Bringing my own piece with me and charging it up there with that energy, that is totally allowed. So that's what I would recommend.
Let me ask a very important question, because I'm sure everyone else wants to hear. No, can we purchase that at Gallows Hill Butchery?
Yeah, I have a limited amount. I have a very limited amount of these, and I don't know if I can get more. I can try to get more. But yes, I have a limited amount of those available, but I don't, and I will see if I can get more. Obviously, Leanne and I both use labradorite all the time to speak with any spirits of any kind. So in terms of the doorway to any of this magic that you're doing, where you're working with plant spirits, working with animal spirits, labradorite's going to be a go-to all the time. Just like when we work with human spirits, we lean on labradorite. So labradorite, wear it, hold it, make things on the altar out of it. I mean, whatever you can do to get labradorite. And so 2 other things that I want to mention, aragonite is another one that links us really close with the earth, and desert roses. This is the selenite, the desert roses. The native people believe that their warriors walked across the land, and that these grew in their footprints. And so this links with the powerful protective spirits of the land. Yeah, I mean, there are so many crystals. Obviously, crystals themselves, they have energy too, So when you're working with animals, when you're working with plants, you're working with the spirit of place, tie those crystals in. There's a way to even wear plants. This is sandalwood. This isn't even stones. This is wood. This is sandalwood. And sandalwood for me it's very spiritual. Like when I smell that burning, I go to a place. Like that's instant meditative state. So I wear it, and the same, it just puts me in a good headspace. This is a very special bracelet that I just want to bring up. That was a gift to me from Leslie. This has a little elephant. It's lava rock, so I can put essential oils and they'll stay, and I'll be able to get that scent. But this elephant bracelet came with a tracker of an actual bull elephant in Africa. So this bracelet reminds me to check up on Einstein, which is the name of my elephant that this links to. So I can check on his location. It is backdated so that it's not 100% accurate. You're following him long after, like a month after him, because they don't want poachers buying these bracelets and tracking these elephants. So I'm sort of following his story about a month behind, but I'm following him, and that was an amazing Yule gift that I was given. So yeah, so it's really cool. So that bracelet does double duty. It has lava rock, so I can put an essential oil and wear it, but it also it reminds me, and because Ganesh is such a strong patron for me, that having an elephant that I'm kind of connected to somewhere, an actual living elephant, is pretty amazing. So
That's incredible. You own an elephant.
well, he's not mine. I'm sure other people are watching this.
Well, it's you own a part of his little
too.
love, and
But
not little,
he's,
nothing
he's,
little.
he's my, he's a spirit animal that actually exists right now. So it's the connection with the greater elephant spirit, which Nathan talks about in his book, how linking up with one kind of links you to all, when it comes to getting really deep in a relationship with the spirit of a creature. And so wanting to be more linked up with the elephant energy, because of Ganesh. So this kind of does the trick, right? And it reminds me. So that goes in my stack for today. And the last thing I'll talk about with regard to this is that one of my kind of power creatures, an animal that has great meaning for me, is the cicada. And this is an actual one that passed, and a jeweler that I've kind of become friends with down in New Orleans, actually bronzed it, I guess you'd say. And so this is an actual one that lived at one time, and is immortalized as a piece of jewelry, which I just think is the coolest. And so, yeah, and I connect with that energy for a lot of reasons, not the least of which that I'm a vocalist. But I love the idea of the longevity and that legacy and that connection, you know, that sort of idea of you know, thinking, you know, long life, but also thinking of what are you contributing here and what are you leaving in your wake. So, not to get too heavy, but
Yeah, no.
it's like walking around wearing something that like was a living creature, you know? Um, yeah.
When I'm looking at it, it is heavy. It's a heavy day. It's not a bad day. It's just a
No,
serious day. It's serious thoughts day. That's what I
serious
feel like.
thoughts day.
It's
Exactly.
serious thought, and the moon ushered it, and this is all just kind of, you know, the symbolism of the cicada.
Absolutely.
This is all.
And I'm looking at the time and I'm realizing like we started behind and I know we started behind, but I definitely want to get
Yes,
Nathan in
let's
here
get Nathan
because
on.
I know he's got a hard deadline on the other end. So I know we started late, but my God, I don't I don't want to I'm like, oh my God, look at the time. Holy crap. Nathan, hello.
Welcome,
Hi.
Nathan.
Hello. Thanks for
Hi.
being with us today.
Um, can you see me?
I can see you.
Great.
We can
I
see you
can't see
and we can
myself
hear
on
you.
the screen.
Oh no. Well, I can see you. You look
Great.
good.
Okay.
And great placement of the book, by the way. Love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
Yep. Because I was delving into that. And I was taking a look at that's a pretty meaty book. That's got a lot to it. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
Great exercises and all kinds of things for dealing you know, for getting involved with your especially connecting with your local magic if you're in a place you know exercises to actually connect you with the spirit of place and you know hopefully gain some wisdom from you know from that. So
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
I know
Uh,
in the book you talked a little bit about what brought you to it, but for those who are watching that aren't familiar at all, can you talk a little bit about what brought you? This is your first book, so
yeah.
how did it come to be?
Well, I think the the origin story, if you will, about the book is that um, I grew up essentially agnostic in a small Midwestern town of about less than 1,000 people. And I grew up just exposed to a lot of nature and a lot of the spirits that would sort of arise and that I would meet in my explorations of nature. I spent a lot of time alone because of just how small the town I grew up in was. So, you know, I would go to the graveyard and hang out in the graveyard. I would go into the woods and hang out in the woods. And as time went on, I just developed this habit of, you know, meeting and speaking with different spirits of place. One of the other interesting, like I kind of see my childhood as being very haunted. I grew up, the town that I grew up in was built on top of an abandoned coal mine. There was an active coal mine when the town was built, but you know, as they sort of removed all of the coal and extracted everything they could from it, they left it behind, and the town has been like over the last 120 or 30 years, actually 150 years now, just sort of slowly dying. And there's something about having that, you know, a town built on a coal mine where it just seems to induce like spirit contact and spirit just energy in the area, whether it's, you know, from like a psychic wound that the land has faced itself from the extraction of the coal, or whether it's, you know, people who may have died in the mines, whatever it is, you know. And you know, there's all kinds of like my dad has a story about like strange lights in the sky. I have a similar story from my teenage years, and there are things like you hear about in England. They have like the big cat sightings, and they're always like these shadow cats or like really large, like black panthers or something. And same thing where I grew up, we had the same exact like legend of something that like that lived in the area, and had my own encounter with that with about 5 other friends one evening. So I feel like, it was the soup, animism is sort of the soup that I
Yep.
was swimming in
Yep.
from a very young age. And yeah, so that's sort of what inspired, like, it inspired me to get into witchcraft because it was the sort of worldview that I had.
Mm.
And when I discovered witchcraft, it was it was like, wow, this is like coming home. This is another way of interacting with these spirits, and maybe a more effective way. It gave me some tools that I didn't have before, where I had a specific worldview that was informed by my experiences, but I didn't have necessarily the techniques or tools to be able to maximize that, if you will.
That's incredible. No, it's a great way to start. We understand, Sandra and I understand places that and land that have wounds being here in Salem.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Definitely. Definitely. But at the same time, I think people often, um, psychic ability is many times kind of unleashed through trauma.
Yeah, for sure.
So it makes sense to me that the land would be experiencing that same thing when the land itself seems to be holding the trauma, or or directly is impacted by the trauma in the case of mining.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, that's a traumatic change for for the land, in many
Yeah, for
ways.
sure.
So yeah. Yeah, that's a definitely a thing. um but I think, it's interesting. There's a whole there's a thread running through your book that is because you are part of the fairy tradition.
I am.
You have some training in the fairy tradition.
I'm an
Um,
initiate.
yep. And I have a little bit of exposure to that, because I one of my teachers was also and did some work in that tradition. And
Nice.
so there were some things that I learned, um learning about the fetch and learning about the three souls, learning about there's a cleansing that you do with a glass of water.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so there were certain things that got incorporated into my practice that are from that, and some of the people that I've met from the fairy tradition have greatly influenced kind of how I sort of frame things. There was a priest that I had met, oh my gosh, it's probably 20 years ago now, who said, I am here to have fun and serve others.
Mm, I like
And
that.
that has stayed with me for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like I can't really put it any better, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like I went, yeah, that's going to be my philosophy too. So as a priestess, that's going to be my philosophy too. So
Nice.
so yeah.
Yeah. As part of my, like, when I found fairy, it was a very deeply resonant um, tradition to come into contact with. It was at a time when I was feeling like so much of what I was encountering in witchcraft, I was sort of in search of a tradition in some ways, and I had encountered lots of really good versions of that. But the thing that really impacted me with fairy was there is a wild spirit to it, and that runs through it. and that a lot of practitioners sort of embody. And when you meet a fairy practitioner, oftentimes it like when I met my teacher, I was like, whatever it is that he's doing, I need that in my practice. And it felt again very resonant with animism for me. There,
Mm,
it felt like an extension of my animism that I could plug in the practices that I learned from fairy into my sort of animist worldview. And while I don't really in my book I don't really discuss the fairy tradition much at all. A lot of my experiences are informed by my actual practice of the tradition. So
mm. And I especially like where you were talking about in the book about meeting your spirit guides, allies, and other fretful beings. And Leanne and I have done a little bit of work in some of our books about connecting with your, with your like your pets
yeah,
specifically, and working with your pets, working magic, and involving your pets in your magic. This is obviously talking more about the wild creatures in your
right,
area, and you talk about if you live in North America, that common animal species people look to work with include rabbit, bear, wolf, rat, raccoon, possum, beaver, woodchuck, bison, badger, wolverine, alligator, snakes, fish, manatee, otter, and weasels and related family. And that birds are numerous, but the most commonly sought after by witches include raptors such as owls, hawks, and the related species, eagles and vultures, corvids such as crows, ravens, and jays, songbirds like mockingbirds, robins, and finches, and waterfowl like ducks, herons, egrets, and storks. Um, and then you talk about the plants and everything too. And so many of those creatures are the creatures that we, I was
yeah,
like, yep. And this is like, this is the roll call of like when I meet somebody and we talk about animal spirits, those are all very, very common,
yeah,
very, very common animal spirits. But there are some that are not as common that some people have. Um, you know, Jess, goose,
love
geese
it,
are her thing. Um, and for myself, turkey is actually in
nice,
my my spirit wheel. And turkey is in the east, and so I'm like I get turkey. Like
yeah,
I'm like okay, but it makes sense, sacrifice and all this, so it totally makes sense.
yeah,
But it's always interesting to me to see like when people are drawn to certain animals, wolf, obviously I have wolf as one of mine. Ravens and crows, Leanne and I both. Um, but then it's like, okay, but who's titmouse? You know what I mean? Or
right,
or like, you know what I mean? Like you're like, okay, who's squirrel? Okay, Joanne's
right,
a seagull, right? So you're like, all right, come on, guys. Some people have to have the animals
for sure,
that aren't as cool as but they have things to teach us. That's the thing.
absolutely,
They do
yeah,
have things to teach us, and they might not be the things that we go, I want to be, wise as the owl, and I want to be strong like a bear, and I want to be, and they might not immediately come to mind, but
yeah,
those creatures are there. And I don't know. I find that connecting with the animal species that are in your area, connecting with the plant species that are in your area, I just find that so important. It makes me feel more at home and it makes
yeah,
me feel safer. It makes me, and when I go places and I connect with things, like when I went down to the live oaks of New Orleans and put my hands on, it was like I touched hundreds of years. It
yeah,
was like it was like I linked in to hundreds of years of energy that just came flowing powerfully right into me,
yeah,
the touch of it. And
yeah,
it's
for
just
sure.
like, that's what I mean. What are some of the things that people can, what can we say to people to encourage them to get out there and get more in contact with the nature around them? What are the benefits that you yourself see from being more in touch with your spaces that you go into?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say, big shout out to Turkey Vulture. That's one of mine, and it's probably not a popular one. So nobody wants a scavenger, but I love them, and my sort of contact with them came through my work with the land here in Florida. I've lived in Florida for 18 years now,
I'm
and
sorry. Just kidding.
I didn't immediately have a strong connection to this place. It was completely foreign and um, unpleasant in many ways. It's there's not seasons. There's a rainy season and a dry season. It gets really humid and hot. It can be really unpleasant for somebody who's used to milder weather. And I still have struggles with it. But I think personally, what I would say is like number one is leave your house. Like even if you live in an urban area, getting out of your house and going for a walk just in your neighborhood, you're immediately exposed to the animals that live there. Whether that's the birds or, here we have, even though I live in a fairly suburban part of the county, I have, I see snakes, I see rats, I see crows and hawks and all kinds of, I see alligators, of course, and it's just getting out is number one. It's just grounding. If you are feeling some kind of way about the way your life is going, the way the world is going, taking a minute, taking a 20-minute walk can be enormously helpful. Just in doing the like inspiring your body to produce the chemicals that it needs to feel better. So just going for a walk, it's not even magical. You can make it more magical,
Yes.
but going for a walk and having exposure to the place where you live is step number one for meeting any of the sort of spirits of place or whatever you want to say. And you know, as I sort of developed my practice here, the biggest thing that I started doing was just giving offerings. When I wanted to meet someone, when I wanted to cultivate a practice, or when I felt like I was repeatedly seeing the same plants or the same animals or whatever, then I say, well, maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's just because they are everywhere here. Maybe it's, and maybe whatever, but it's not
Absolutely.
really always for us as spiritual people to decide, well, okay, well, this experience is clearly just because I live here and these animals are everywhere. And this experience over here is special and unique because they're trying to reach out to me. It can be both.
Sure.
You can, and sometimes the most common animals in your area are the ones that you need to reach out to the most because they like you are common to where you are and have something to teach you. So
Absolutely.
um, I just take spring water or even tap water or filtered water, whatever, and that will be my offering to whatever spirits I go. I used to do things like bring food or bring cornmeal or bring like trinkets and things like that when I was when I was cultivating a relationship with pros. They love collecting shiny things, so I would
Yes.
leave shiny things out for them. And over time, I kind of got away from doing that so much because it was just one of those things where it's like, well, it's not the net impact that I'm putting out into the world by leaving food out or whatever is probably not the worst, but I'd rather have encourage wild animals to not rely on food from humans,
Yeah.
and not count on food from humans.
Yeah.
And it's it's inescapable for a lot of species. Like raccoons, I don't know if how adept raccoons would be if humans were to suddenly just disappear from the planet at this point because they are
Yeah.
so interwoven with our patterns and our food.
Yeah.
like our trash that we leave out and things like that.
Hence the
So,
name Trash
but
Panda.
in general, I just try to be like, well, I want to act in the way that I expect, the the spirit world to want to be interacted with, So I don't want to leave out food offerings anymore because I'm like, well, energetically, what I'm doing is the same when I'm pouring out some water, leaving water as a gift, and that's in the spirit world. I'm not trying to let I'm not trying to like have a little water dish for living squirrels, and this is a to the spirit of squirrel I offer this water, kind of thing.
Yes.
So those are some of the ways that and over time, as you bring more offerings and sort of open your psychic awareness to these different spirits, you can start to have an exchange with them. And my biggest thing is that if you're going to have a spiritual partner, treat them like a partner, treat them like a friend, and not like a something that when you need something you go to them. Otherwise, it's just whatever.
Right.
So
That's my same philosophy with the gods.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's my same philosophy with the gods as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're not your servants.
Yeah.
Stop treating them like you call them up every time you need something. You know what I mean? It's like that's
it's not a magical wish granting machine. So
yes.
But yeah, so that's sort of how I cultivate my relationships with just about all of the different spirits that I interact with, whether and that can go for spirits of stones, it can go for spirits of an entire ecosystem. We didn't really get into all of that, but my animist worldview at least says that I have the ability to create partnerships with things as small as like subatomic particles or supernova or the universe, which a lot of witches would say is the goddess, the original goddess, the star goddess, so
yes.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I hear my cat speaking of spirits that are going to
yeah, right.
interrupt.
Tell us about your cats, and we're all here.
Yeah.
The cat wanted to weigh in,
Yep.
had something to say clearly to the cat listeners out there. I'm sure the other cats that are tuning in,
Right.
we're happy to hear from your cat. What's your cat's name?
Sage.
Sage.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, we adopted her when she was 9 years old, and now she's like 18, I think, or 19. So she's an old lady cat.
I love it.
Good girl.
She's very opinionated and mouthy.
She's earned the right to be.
That's right.
She's earned, much like Leanne and myself.
Yes, opinionated and mouthy.
We've earned the right to be.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Indeed.
So perfect. I love it. That's awesome. I am watching the time for you, as I said I would. And I know that you need to go, but thank you so much for sharing. And it's called Path of the Moonlit Hedge.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It's out now. Yes.
Yep. It came out beginning of May.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. So
we look forward to having you at Pentagram.
I can't wait.
We can't wait to have you. We'll
very excited.
Yeah.
Oh, when's that class? When's that?
I believe we have it scheduled for September. Yeah, we have the date also. Yep, he said the date.
September 21st.
September
7 p.m.
Yep, 7 p.m. It'll be great. Tickets are up and available now.
Nice.
Yay.
I love it. And so you'll be teaching some of the stuff from, the class is based on the path in this book?
Yeah.
Yes,
so I sent a couple options and we'll decide, I guess.
Yep.
In a little bit which one we're going for, but
we're excited to have you. We can't
Yeah.
Well, I
wait.
look forward to seeing you when you're in town.
Thank you.
Yeah,
too.
let's all do lunch.
Fantastic.
Can't wait to visit Salem.
Have you ever
Love it.
been?
Yeah. I've been a
Okay.
few times.
Good.
Well, good. We'll be happy to have you back.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, women.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you,
We
Nathan.
appreciate
Really
it.
appreciate it.
Have a wonderful rest of your summer. We'll see you in September.
All right. Take care.
So I'm not sure where Tim Soaring Wolf was today.
Yes, I know. We've heard from him.
Oh, okay. Okay. But I'm sure that you will be able to get the report. I will make sure that I post it to Gallows Hill Witchery. So for my Gallows Hill Witchery people, if you were hoping to get the report, you can find it there. And I'm sure you'll be able to get it on his social media as well. He'll probably have it on his Facebook. He'll probably have it on his, he might link to it on his Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to try to see if I can link up to it on the Psychic Tea's Instagram or the Psychic Tea Instagram. And so we will make sure that somehow we get you that astro forecast for this upcoming month.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
He's okay though?
Yeah, stuff.
Okay.
Stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well, he's upright.
He's upright.
He's on this side of
the thing.
He's on this side of the dirt, so we'll call it a win. All right.
Yes.
Well, Leanne and I are going to hit the water. We're going to enjoy our day. Maybe grab some lunch.
Hope so.
I have not had anything.
I'm
solid
starving.
today.
I know you all really
I
want
got
to
any
know how I
solid
do
food
it.
today, so I'm like,
But I'm absolutely
lunch?
starving. So I love you
Right.
all, but yeah.
okay, all right. But yeah, I got my bathing suit on. Let's go.
I do too. Got my little pink
Get out,
suit.
get out there, people, and enjoy. Get out there and
Anything.
enjoy.
Learn
The
and
message.
love nature.
Yes.
Take care.